Ben is a very hydrating person. See how you thought that was going to be an insult, but it was a mad compliment?
I guess being a hydrating person is a compliment. I don't really know what that means.
Everybody needs water. Nobody needs milk except babies.
Except every human.
And mammal.
Right.
So I think I feel insulted. I'm not sure.
It's right where I want you.
Hello, and welcome to Way Too Broad, a place for friends to talk about things that make them sound crazy. I'm Hannah, and these are my co-hosts, Ben and Erin. Hi, Ben.
Hi. Whoa, switching it up. You said hi to me first, and I also sounded angry for some reason when you said our names.
Because I was so excited about the surprise. Hi, Erin.
Ben is speechless.
You know when you're so excited, you start to look angry?
You know when you're so excited that you come off as extremely aggressive?
Right. That happens.
Hi, Hannah.
Hi. Okay. Hi, everybody.
Hey,
Hi.
everybody.
So, I need to tell you guys... Oh, well, I guess first of all, I should tell our listeners that there's only one rule on Way Too Broad. I don't know if I've said this for the last 2 or 3 episodes. But it's the truth, that the only rule is that you have to be excited about the thing that you're talking about. So, now that that's out of the way, I have to tell you guys that I had a really exciting experience for me this week. Just today, actually. I was talking about bread to somebody, and because of you, Erin, and then that person said, "Oh yeah, no." Yeah. And that person said to me, "Oh yeah. I was just thinking about baking bread because I was listening to your podcast and you guys were talking about it."
Wow.
And I was like, "Oh my god, that's why I'm talking about it too. That's so crazy."
Changing lives.
Shout
Should we do a sourdough update?
Yeah, definitely. Let's
Okay.
we can go straight into corrections and updates.
Okay.
Starting with updates.
And homeworks. Starting with updates. Yeah. I started, like, I mentioned that I was going to start a sourdough starter from scratch, like from the wild yeasts in the flour. And I did. I'm on day 4. Shit, I forgot to feed it tonight. I have to feed it after this podcast. We're recording. And
Reminder.
Erin, if you're listening to this on Saturday, it's too late. It's already dead. But no, I'll feed it. And, so, today's day 4. Yesterday was the first day. You know, I was unsure if it was going to work because day 1 I started out with a bleached all-purpose flour, which I was looking around on the internet, and it's like, obviously you probably don't want that because, you know, the theory is all of the wild bacteria have been bleached out. So, the first day I only had bleached, and then I fed it days 2 and 3 with unbleached, and yesterday when I went to go feed it, it, like, smelled like sourdough. Like, it had that, like, stanky dank, like, you know, smell, and it was real bubbly and nasty. So I'm really excited. I'm excited where this is heading. As an update.
Hope it gets real nasty.
I'm sure it will.
That's exciting.
Cool. Thanks. Cool.
Awesome.
Exciting update.
Cool.
I have a homework, unless anybody else has any updates.
I have one. Carl & Oates is still active. Just want to let everybody know.
It sounded to me like you said Carl and Oates.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Carl and Oates.
Carl and his friend Oates. You can still call and get Hall & Oates music on demand.
Do you have that number?
We're not going to plug the phone number, though. Well, okay, fine. Hang on. I guess we can.
How fickle we are.
719-266-2837.
Thank you, Ben.
Thanks, Ben.
No problem.
We're not going to say it twice, though. So if you hear it that time, you got to rewind.
Rewind.
It's not going to be in the
30
description either. You have to just get it then.
That's why God made that 30-second rewind button.
Oh, yeah. Love that button.
All right, I have a homework.
Okay.
Did you know? So, I was thinking in my mind about getting a Google Cardboard, and I almost ordered it, and then I didn't because then my mind started thinking about something else, and I forgot. And then I came home, and sitting on the counter was a Google Cardboard. Molly had 5 at her desk. She's like, oh yeah, I have 5 like at my desk because she works at a science museum because she's like the coolest person in the whole world. And she just like brought one home for me to use, so I was tooling around with it tonight, but could not find how to look around on Google Earth, how to fly around Google Earth with it for the fucking life of me.
Yeah, I'm not convinced it's possible. Because, like, all you can do is click. Right? But your little phone fits in it.
My little phone fits right in there. I just, like, slid my little phone right in there. It was great. I saw the whale over there. It was very exciting. Molly actually was taking some video of me. It was very embarrassing because I'm, like, standing in the kitchen,
gosh.
like, Molly, I'm planting flowers for the bees! And then I, like, look over at her and she's, like, filming me.
I told you. You just always end up standing in your kitchen looking like the biggest idiot.
Yep, you're right.
It's always the kitchen. I don't know why.
Mm-hmm. I think I was subtly swayed by you to go be in the kitchen. I was like, clearly the kitchen is the place to do this. It's the safest place you can be when you're walking around blindfolded.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
You're only surrounded by fire and knives.
Yeah. If you have like a padded room, that would be best.
That'd be
Make
better.
a restaurant called Fire and Knives.
Ooh.
Oh, you know what?
exists.
It sounds like Fire and Ice. That's why I thought of it.
Yeah, but so
True, that's not a reason not to do it.
you
Let's
should
go
still
into
do it.
business. I can make the bread.
That you cut with the knives.
And cook with the fire.
I'll handle the marketing for the restaurant.
This is how we would describe our menu to future patrons. You cut the bread with a knife. We cooked it with the fire.
Everything will have those types of instructions on it. I thought that we might also want to touch base on the developments in Dear David since we last talked about it.
I haven't caught up yet.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Do that right
sorry.
now. Do it right now.
Do you want to just do it right now?
Sure.
And give us your live reactions?
Yeah. I
do
can
it
do
right
that.
fucking now.
Okay.
Let me find
Okay.
it.
As we discuss this, I told you, Hannah, I felt less visceral fear this time. I think talking so much about our fears during the Halloween season really helped me feel them less. Like,
That's great. I mean, I think that... What's that thing that Mr. Rogers said? If it...
won't you be my neighbor?
If it can be mentioned, it can be managed.
What the fuck? I turned the... Oh, what? Come on.
Okay.
Yeah, what do you think? What do you
Those
think,
look
Ben?
like fake little dolls.
Yeah.
They do.
Those aren't real, Adam. Come on.
I think this did more to really make me believe that he's just fucking with us. It's like what Rachel was saying in her description of on the Halloween episode special, where she was talking about how the scary part of reading World War Z is that the monster is in your mind, which is 10 times scarier than any time that you actually see it visualized. Like, you know what's scary, and so if you have like an abstract suggestion of it, it's way more scary than seeing just like a picture of it. You're like, okay, but that's just a doll though.
Yeah, but on the other hand, I will say that, like, I agree it looks like it's a doll, but it did give me chills more so than any other like picture or anything that he's posted the first moment that I saw it.
He's doing a
I
good
was like,
job.
oh my God. And then I was like, okay, let me look at these. And also even the brightened up photos, I know it's because they're brightened up, but the eyes look like they're glowing and it's scary.
But they don't even, it doesn't even look like a, like the proportions aren't even right for a human being.
It's like a little youngin'.
That's not, look at the head compared to the chair. That's not like.
Look at your head compared to the chair.
It doesn't, it's like what a big doll would look like. You know that creepy doll that Dad kept in the garage for a long time?
With the cracked face?
Yes, and
What
like
the
the
fuck is
eyes
he
with no
doing?
pupils on it anymore. It looks like that.
It had a name also. I don't remember what the name was, but that shit was so creepy.
Wouldn't
Yeah.
it be creepy if your dad was like, I really don't know what you're talking about. I never kept a doll in the garage.
It's like Ziggy,
Uncle
I
Nord,
think.
this is your chance.
Hear us. Okay, other corrections or additions. I've fixed the description. I called Super Mario the wrong thing twice, and I'm afraid to say it because I'm going to do it again.
You
is it?
called Super Mario Odyssey Super Mario Galaxy.
That's right. That's the
God,
one.
you're the worst. How dare
Super Mario
you?
Galaxy is a good game that everyone should play, by the way, but it's a much older game for the Wii.
Super Mario. How about that? How does she call it that?
Super Mario. There is one guy at Polygon who, his name is Russ Frushtick, one of the video guys, and he says Mario consistently. And I think I know that he knows he does it, so at this point I think he does it on purpose, and I enjoy it.
My big brother growing up used to say part tart instead of pop tart, and it was just driving me crazy. Or Egos, or Legos. I'm like, where's the A in those words?
Legos, that's bad.
That's bad.
Well, that's more understandable than part tart.
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't say part tart. Maybe that's just something I said and continued to say.
Part tart.
That man's delightful name that you just mentioned made me think of something I wanted to share. What was his name?
Russ Frushtick.
That's so good.
What?
That's a delightful name, which reminded me of Molly and I get a local seafood delivery thing. We have to pick it up, but it's like fresh from the coast.
That's not delivery.
It's not delivery. It's DiGiorno. Oh, what am I thinking? It's a fresh, like they deliver it from the coast and meet us,
Gotcha.
and then we go pick it up. So it's like super fresh seafood, and it's local. And they tell us the name of the fishermen who caught our fish, and their names are absurd. Their names are the guy who caught our trout the other day was Rob Salter. And then the guy who caught like the snapper was Carlisle Gilgo. And then there was one more that was like equally I'm gonna forget it, but I'm just like, those are not the names of human beings. Those are the names of like fisherman cartoon characters. We're like, let's think of a good name for we have this fisherman who's a cartoon character.
I think that's like when you used to order a Domino's pizza and it'd be like, Jim's putting your thing in the oven. And I'd be like, is he though? Like, really?
Oh, the other one was Rob Conklin. I was like, these are made up like seafaring names. Like, those are not the real names of people.
That's very good. And it dovetails nicely into our section about our pets. I don't know if, Erin, if you had a specific one you want to kick off, but mine actually does dovetail nicely with this.
Did that dovetail?
It does for
Maybe pigeon-tailed.
Let me tell you why. Ian has come up with a new alternative name for Squeaks that he uses every day. Not exclusively. He still calls her Squeaks sometimes, but then the other, like, maybe 1/3 of the time, he calls her Danny Rustman. which is
Why?
not a real person, not a person who's ever existed as far as we know. I mean, Danny Russman, if you're listening, like, please reach out.
Email us.
Yeah. But, yeah, no, it's just, he just came, I think it mostly has to do with, she has some, like, rust color on her belly, but every other part of the name came straight out of his twisted mind. I like to think of it as, like, Sasha Fierce for Beyonce, where, like, most of the time she's just Beyonce and most of the time she's just Squeaks, but, like, sometimes in certain situations she turns into, you know, Danny Russman, who's like a gruff older man, like, who works security or something like
Sasha Fierce. Isn't that like Beyonce's things?
Yeah,
Things?
like Sasha Fierce.
Gotcha. That's the parallel you were making this whole time.
Right.
I see. I wasn't having an original thought. You were actually establishing that parallel from the very beginning.
Back to me, the thing that I said.
Okay.
Yeah,
You just
yeah. But Sasha Fierce's thing is that she's, like, this incredible performer, like, fabulous person. Squeaks' Danny Russman thing is just, like, gruff old man who doesn't get along with anybody. Like, that's Danny Russman.
I really like that. That's really great.
Yeah, so that's why it dovetailed, you know, made up names.
Gotcha. We don't have. I was supposed to come up with some good terminology ends for our dog Henry, and we do have some, but I just can't remember them. One name thing is lately, I don't know where this came from. His name is Henry, and we started calling him Frick. I think it has a few origins. One, in this cold weather, it's been getting chilly, and he is very, like, needs to be under the covers and will bitch at you until you put him under the covers. And so when he's doing that, he's being a frick is what we say. And also, you know, sometimes he, like, you know, will lick his peen is what we call it. and I feel like at Thanksgiving we came up with, like, frickin' ween or something like that. There's just like a lot of rivers that lead into the ocean that we've just lately we've just been calling him Frick. Like, come here, you frick.
We call Como Bean probably 60 to 80% of the time that we talk to him. I don't know how that started. I think Kylie just called him Como Bean once because it kind of rolled off, and then it also fits because he's black, so he's like a black bean.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so he's Bean a lot of the time. He likes to get under our bed, and, like, we have king-size sheets on a full-size bed for some reason, so the sheets
Living
hang
the
off.
life.
Yeah, for real.
Fake it
And
till
he
you
likes
make
to,
it.
like, attack your feet from under the sheets, so it looks like there's a monster under the bed attacking you. So, like, when he does that, we just kind of casually say to each other, we have a monster under the bed right now.
You gotta be careful with those nicknames because I've seen them turn into their actual names
You
before.
mean, like, our
Mr.
parents'
Cat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Whose name was Kuroniko, and now
Kuroneko.
I have not heard him whatever. I have not heard him called that in probably over a year.
Yeah, they don't even
Right?
consider that his name anymore.
I think
No.
it's customary to pretty much call your dog or your pet anything but their real name.
Yeah, honestly.
Sometimes Henry will be sitting on the couch and we'll be walking by and we'll just look at him and say, "Beauty," because he's so beautiful. We'll
do
just,
the
like, walk by and
similar
look
thing.
at him and be like, "Beauty." And I think he started responding to that.
Sometimes we just walk by Como and, like, yell cute.
Yeah.
It's just, like, it's not even like we're talking about, like,
Yeah. We just
calling
yell
him
it.
that. We're just, like, excited that he's so cute. We're like,
Yeah.
cute!
Yep. Beauty!
I was hanging out with two dogs named Ben today.
Why were they both named Ben?
Yeah, I don't like...
What? What'd you
weird.
say, Ben?
It's weird that they had my name.
Yeah, well...
Maybe you
the
had their
older-
name.
Yeah.
Doubt
How about
it.
that?
I'm
How about that?
22. It's a
Catch
really
me
old
outside.
dog.
How about that?
No, one of them was the actual, you know, dog of the house, and his name was Bentley, but they call him Ben. And then the other one was a puppy.
No.
Really cute puppy.
Little puppy.
And they were and they were fostering him, and the new owners were gonna be the new Guardians were going to be calling him Ben. So they were calling them Big Ben and Little Ben.
And it's so
but
nice.
I kept calling him Baby Ben because of Baby Ben, my brother.
They were hell bent on having that name.
But as far as I could tell, they really just call him Puppy because, you know, it's got to be confusing for the dogs. They don't understand.
Yeah. Dogs don't really care. They're so accommodating. They're like, really, I'll respond to anything.
You just make a nice sounding noise and they'll come to you.
Yeah.
I'm first this week.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you want like some applause? You like pause dramatically.
It's okay. I'll edit some in for myself. So I primed the pump for mine last week by announcing it 3 or 4 times.
Did you just invent that phrase?
Wait, what's that a reference to? Oh, our president.
He who shall not be named. She's laugh crying into her 14% beer.
I'm almost done with it, so it's good that I'm going first, because I'm only going to get sloppier.
Kind of a metaphor for life. Continue.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, life's been, it's been stressful lately. I've been like, I've been getting really caught up in the crush of things and the stress of just trying to figure out where I'm going in life. And so I decided that I was just going to head off to Stardew Valley.
Hell yeah.
The week.
That was quite the preface.
Well, Erin, I don't think you know this, but that is actually how Stardew Valley starts, is that you're working a terrible corporate job for Joja Corp.
Oh.
Yes, and then your grandpa dies and he leaves you this letter and he says, open this when like you can't stand your life anymore, basically. And then you open it and it's the deed to his farm in Stardew Valley. So I think, Erin, you haven't played it, right?
No.
It's a video game. It used to be a computer game, but I did just get it on the Switch, as we talked about last week.
Yes.
And I got to the point in the computer game where I had like mostly done everything there was to do, and I was like, actually, here's what happened. So just to give a general overview, what happens is all the stuff that I just said, and then you move to this town, which is like in this valley, and you have this farm, and it's all overgrown, and so you need to start like farming it. And also there are like 27 townspeople that you have to like meet and form relationships with, and 12 of them are romanceable.
This sounds like Harvest Moon.
Yes,
it's very similar, but better.
Right. It's like this one guy who was like, I really love Harvest Moon, but I think it could do better, and so I'm just going to make that. And then he did, and it's so good.
Harvest Moon is my fucking jam.
Oh, you would love Stardew Valley. I actually couldn't stay focused on Harvest Moon, but...
The time scale in Harvest Moon is a lot longer than Stardew Valley.
What do you mean by that, Ben?
Like, to marry someone in Harvest Moon, it takes like hours and hours and hours and hours of romancing them, and like to get to the equivalent of like the deeper levels of like the mine in Stardew Valley with there are like caves in Harvest Moon too that you can like kill monsters in and stuff. You need to be like much higher level in combat and stuff to get through them. It's just like everything moves slower in Harvest Moon, and like to build out a bigger farm takes a longer amount of time. It's just all slower. So
maybe I just didn't have the attention span for it. That sounds likely.
That sounds like me.
Experience. Maybe I'm just bad at Harvest Moon.
Well, like, Ian reads the news and I listen to the Daily, and that's pretty much like my news. But it's good. You guys like the Daily?
I listen to it sometimes. I have a friend who listens to it every day. Listens to it daily.
I was right there waiting for you.
So one of the cool things about Stardew Valley that I've really enjoyed kind of playing around with is that the romances are gender blind. So Yeah, so there are like, I think probably 6 and 6 like males and females that you can romance, and you can choose what gender you are at the beginning, and then like you just go for it and whatever. And like you
and
can
I
also
don't think that's the case in Harvest Moon.
No, it's
Right,
not.
yeah.
It's definitely not. You can also like date as many of them as you want at a time.
Oh.
Up until you get married. Well, but then also, so what ended up happening to me in the computer game that I was starting to say is that I found my love, and I married her, and we were this really awesome lesbian couple. We were like an inventor and a like purple-haired farmer.
Fuck yeah.
And purple-haired African-American farmer. That was me. And my wife was an inventor, and it was great. But then, like, I beat everything else, and I was like, shit, like, I married the first person that caught my eye here. Like, I should really have played the field more. Yeah, because there's, like, cutscenes for every person, and like, the cutscenes are what you live for in Stardew Valley, because, like, you can gather stuff, and you can make money and things, but, like, the real exciting thing is when you walk into, like, an unexpected cutscene, for me. So I just started dating people on the side, and it was kind of funny because, like, sometimes, every once in a while, she would confront me about it in the evening. Like, I would come home of it, and I had so many resources. Like, I had so much money, and, like, I had access to every space, so I knew what everybody liked, and I, like, was able to get gifts for them. 'Cause, like, the main way that you curry favor is that you bring people gifts. And so I knew what everybody liked, and I was able to get it for them as often as I wanted to. So I would just like make a big loop every day and just give out like, you know, like 5 to 12 gifts, 5 to 11, I guess. And I'd come home, and most days she'd just be like, I love our family. We had like 2 little kids. And like some days she would be like, I heard you gave a gift secretly to Emily.
Oh my God. Yeah. You were terrible.
I know. I felt really bad about it, but like they have mechanics for it in the game because like these things do happen. So like you can pay for a divorce, but you can also go to this like witch, and you can have she can help you. Basically, you can have your spouse forget that you were ever married.
That's like a plot of a few of the episodes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Is it really?
Yeah. Yes.
It's like Eternal Sunshine. Hello? Jack? Oh, we don't have a candelabra. Did you guys hear that crash? Apparently Jack tried to climb a candelabra. Okay. You can also turn your kids into birds. This is the thing he knocked over.
Oh, I would definitely call that a candelabra.
Yeah. Good job.
I was gonna ask what happened to the kids in that situation, but you went ahead and...
What they do is it goes to a cutscene, and the kids are like, I'm like a bird on the flower.
Well, let me tell you what, though. It's pretty stupid. Stardew Valley, the kids are, like, I think the least, like, fully developed part of the game.
Because they're kids, and kids are not fully developed. So we're implying.
I think they stop growing at a certain point,
They stop
right?
growing. They're, like, babies for a while, and all they do is sleep. And then they... For real, though. And then they turn to toddlers, and they kind of, like, hobble around your house. And then they like, become whatever's after that. And then they just stop. And they just run around your house forever. And you can have up to 2 of them. And then that's it. So you can have 2 toddlers, 2 eternal toddlers. I mean, I feel like the fun of kids is... it partly in watching them grow up. Like, I would love it if they eventually became your neighbors and you could go visit them and stuff. Like, that would keep me coming back.
Now, this is pertinent to my life right now. How did you and your wife have kids? What was the method that you used?
So what does happen is you adopt in Stardew Valley,
okay,
actually.
Cool.
So she's just like, do you want to adopt a baby? If you, like, keep your heart levels up, then one night she'll just ask you if you want to, and you can say yes or no. Yeah, and then like 3 weeks later you have a baby. But they still look like you. But, you know, I'm not going to prod that one too much.
Interesting. Your wife's like, great, I'm gonna go procure you a baby. Sit tight, BRB.
Yeah. But yeah, I just started a new game, and I am a bisexual, purple-haired, mustachioed hipster man who actually, Ian pointed out, looks very much like the gym teacher in Big Mouth.
Nice.
Actually, my character is a black man with a green hair. He has a big afro, and I think he has a mustache too.
Cool.
Yeah, but he's got dark green hair, so it looks like broccoli.
Love it. Broccoli, I don't know if you guys remember this, but broccoli is my favorite.
Yeah, I had broccoli this week and thought of you.
I'd like to be known as the broccoli person.
I really did. I was eating my broccoli. I was like, man, Hannah loves broccoli.
I do. I love Bawakawee.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. That's
right,
a family inside joke.
Should we stop here for a quick family inside joke? Hannah,
Sure.
you gotta take this. Or Ben.
Okay.
Ben, you should take this.
Yeah, you never do them.
I don't remember it that well. I was younger than you.
Well, I feel like I'm the only one that remembers it because
I remember
Dad doesn't even remember it. But
I remember it because
What?
it was when I was visiting y'all. I think it was either in Florida or I believe it was in Massachusetts.
I think it was Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I was
think it was in
visiting you in
Florida.
Massachusetts and we were having broccoli.
Well, and like, it's funny because I've read a lot of studies. I don't read studies. I've read a lot of articles about studies more recently.
Okay, I read a lot of headlines of articles that are about that.
And like basically they were about like how vegetables like broccoli, they really are largely like bitter. And so like the reason kids don't like them is because in order to like them, you have to form like positive associations with them over time. So it largely comes down to like, you know, your family encouraging you and your parents encouraging you to eat them in various ways. And that rang extremely true to me because the main thing I think about every time that I think about broccoli is Broccoli Man. Mm-hmm. And Broccoli Man is my father, Norbert Brown, who
His first and last name.
one night was
Social
like,
security number, it reads the
Also,
following.
his Facebook is public, by the way, so
yeah,
we can
that's,
just find that now.
you know what? Maybe this will finally convince him to stop. Or maybe he'll just make his nickname in the like Broccoli Man and he'll just like run with it. Who knows? But one night I was like, I don't like broccoli when Mom made broccoli. And he was like, you don't like broccoli? I love broccoli. And
I
like-
love broccoli.
and he made it like a 4-syllable word. And he did it. I don't think he did it that many times, and he
did it.
does
I
not
thought-
remember.
I definitely remember him doing it when I was over, and he was like, "They remind me of little trees in the forest."
Yeah.
And when I first saw
Oh
them,
my
it was
God,
like
I
it's
forgot about that.
snowing. Or something like it was like so. But I remember dying.
See, my memory is him doing that every time we had broccoli.
I really thought it was a recurring thing, but he does not remember it.
That's weird. He's
It
just
must
old.
have been recurring because I think he must have done it for y'all, and then we were having broccoli when I was over, and he like brought out Broccoli Man either by request or just like as a bit.
I feel like probably by request. I feel like there have been times, like recently, that I've asked him to bring out Broccoli Man, and that's how I found out that he didn't know what I was talking about.
And you even like went into it, and he didn't know.
No.
Oh, I
That's
love
weird.
a walkaway.
like the little tweez.
In the forest. The little walkaway forest. Absolutely. I almost wonder if he was going for like John Leguizamo in Moulin Rouge or something, you know, like with that little...
Yeah. Interesting.
Also, by
Maybe
the way,
though.
it didn't work on me. I don't like broccoli.
What?
I know.
So dope.
It's 'cause-
I love all vegetables.
I don't, but I love broccoli.
You know, that reminds me, on that same visit, Erin, was probably when the mashed pecans thing
Yes.
happened.
Oh my
I can explain
God.
that.
You tell that one.
So there's like a shopping area, like a big outlet kind of thing near where we live, where Hannah and I are from, called Mashpee Commons. It's in the town of Mashpee. And one time Erin was visiting us, and we kept talking about like all day how we were gonna go to Mashpee Commons, and it was like really exciting because there's like a movie theater and there's a bunch of cool stores and stuff.
But no, you guys were like, "Do you want to do Mashpee Commons today?"
Yeah,
Like you were saying, "Do."
Yeah. We could do because it was something we brought up. We were like, we could do Mashpee Commons today, maybe. Like, and then
I was like, that sounds great.
yeah, and the whole time it turned out like I'm pretty sure. I don't know when you figured it out. I think it wasn't until we actually got there
I think you're right, Ben.
that Erin thought that we were saying mashed pecans, and she thought that we were going to some special place where they had really good mashed pecans.
No, I thought we were gonna make it because you're like, "Do you want to do mashed pecans today?" Like, we can do today. We should do tomorrow. And I was like, "That sounds great. Like, I'm into that. That sounds delicious." I didn't say that.
No, but I do remember being a little bit confused about your enthusiasm. I feel like we were like, "You're gonna love Mashpee Commons. It's really fun," like stuff like that. You're just like, "It sounds really great." Why have we never tried to make that? We should try to make.
We should
mashed
do that
pecans.
at Thanksgiving. It was. I think we were getting ready, and I was like, "Are we going to this store to get the ingredients?" Or something like that.
Yeah. We were like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're an idiot.
I have a similar one. This is apparently just me. So it's like a me problem. I think everything's about food. I was at my in-laws' house recently with my wife, and we were talking about, we were going to go see a show. Molly's dad was playing in a show, and we were going to go and have dinner there and go see the show. And so they were like, should we have dinner at La Plata? Or La Plata? That's what they said. Dinner at La Plata? And I was like, that sounds good to me. And they were like, okay, we're going to have dinner in La Plata. And then they were like, where should we have dinner? I was like, I thought we were going to La Plata. Like, La Plata was the town. And I thought it was a Mexican restaurant called, like, La Plata.
Well, that's understandable.
I don't
You're
know.
not from there.
Yeah, you're right. And I wasn't from Massachusetts. And I just, like, assumed that we're going to be talking about a tasty place to eat some nice food.
Yeah. Tasty place to eat some nice food for a fresh flavor. So, yeah. So that's my thing this week is Stardew Valley. As we've been talking about this whole time. Erin is up next. If you're ready, Erin.
Ready or not, here I come. I'm ready. What is my thing? Oh, shit, I keep forgetting.
I don't know what your thing is.
I keep forgetting the name of it. This is so ridiculous. Okay.
I'm so curious what it is based on the fact that you're forgetting the name of it so often.
Yeah, how excited are you about it?
I'm very excited about it. I just keep forgetting the name. Okay, so it's this new show on Netflix called Big Family Cooking Showdown.
Ooh.
And here is an article header. The Big Family Cooking Showdown is the Great British Bake Off replacement you've been waiting for.
Oh, I have been waiting for that.
Yeah, I have too. It's not as good, I will say. So if you're a fan of the Great British Bake Off, and let's take a snack poll. Have we finished all of the available Great British Bake Offs available to us?
Never watched
Yes,
it.
and I've been looking for the latest season because Noel Fielding is apparently one of the new judges.
What?
Yeah, like I was so ready to just write it off because of all the like shit that went down, but I love him.
I'm feeling very skeptical about the newest season. But Ben, you've never seen it.
No, I've not.
Do you know
Actually,
about
that's
it?
not true. I've watched it at a friend's house before, but like I haven't watched it all the way through or anything.
Gotcha.
I've seen like one episode here and there.
Ben, come
Sorry.
on.
Get on our level. Get your shit together.
Your shit together, Ben.
So I will say, the Great British Bake Off, I think we as a collective people have experienced the same thing except Ben, which is like literally everybody.
Literally everybody in the country.
Which is like what the fuck is this? This
Literally
is
probably everybody listening to this.
everybody listening to this except literally only you, Ben. is like, this show is so wonderful. I love it.
Yeah.
What is going on? Why are these people so nice to each other?
It's like the Hamilton of reality shows.
Yeah, it is. It's like, this is the most magnificent thing to have ever been created.
Yeah. Yes.
In our life.
In this genre. Yeah.
In our life, this is like the most masterful thing that will ever exist in this realm. So that being said, this show doesn't quite hit it, but it hits all my buttons. It's like they're all so what it is the big family cooking showdown is each episode is two groups of families, 3 people in each family cooking together for 2 judges, and they're cooking in a barn. It's like, they're trying.
Yeah, Ben, for your reference and only you, at the Great British Baking Show, they cook in a tent.
They cook in a tent in like a field. With
in
sheep.
a field.
It's like a pasture. It's an event.
It's
It's really
great.
great.
Everything about it, yes.
Yeah,
Everything
it's
about
fucking
it
lovely.
Is so great.
It's so great. It's like they're in the British countryside. They might as well be in the Shire. They're in the British countryside, Sean Connery, and they're cooking in a tent. This is the Great British Bake Off.
He's not on it, Ben.
It's also not called the Great British Bake Off in Britain. It's called like the Great British Cooking Show.
Yeah.
Baking Show. Yeah.
Yeah.
They made it. They called it the Cook-Off in America because they needed to communicate in a language Americans would understand. Like,
let's just be
baking show. Like,
let's be really honest, though. It's a better name. It rolls off the tongue better.
Yes, but it is confusing if you see press about it in 2 different ways. You're like, am I making that up?
Yes, me too. I agree.
Yeah. So in this show, it's 2 groups of families go head to head at a time, and like in a barn. And the first challenge is like they're cooking, a family meal for 4 with the tenor, like on a budget of £10, and they're like ingredients.
Oh, it's British
with a tenor. It's British. Yeah, it's a British show. And one of the hosts, only for Hannah and everybody else except Ben, is Nadia.
Really?
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Really?
Ben, shut up.
It's Nadia.
Was she the one who wore the headscarf?
Yes.
Yes, she's amazing.
She's delightful.
Not because of that. That's just a signifier that I have for her. She was so funny. Ben, you have to watch this show.
God, Ben. Okay.
So stupid.
So one of the one of the hosts is Nadia, and she's just a delight. All right,
I'm gonna watch it. She's so delightful.
Yeah, it's a good show. I would say it's not, obviously not to the level of Great British Bake Off, because what could be, but it definitely hits all my buttons. It's like they're cooking in a barn. It's like really sweet British people. It's so British. They're like talking about things. I'm like, what the fuck is that? They're like, well,
every time they're like, jelly.
They're like, well, I know my Yorkshire.
Dick.
I know, exactly. They're like, I know my Yorkshire pudding. And I'm like, what?
I don't.
What? It's funny. Ben in the Great British Baking Show, they would like cook things you've never heard of. And they're like, oh, yes, a schmookity book. I've done that like 15 times. And then they would be tasked like cook some naan or cook a baguette. And they're like, a baguette? Or they're like, cook some naan. They're like, or like pita. They're like,
ciabatta.
What does pita look like? We're like, what?
Except they called it pitta.
Pitta. Is pitta round? Like, what's pitta look like? I've never had pitta. Just things like that is really funny. That hasn't happened but it's just like so British. They're like, it's just like, so it ticks all my boxes. I'm like, cooking show. I've been really into cooking and baking. It's
in
like
a barn.
It's like so British. It's in a barn. There's like a crazy Italian judge who's just so
they
funny.
They have a lot of different colored KitchenAid mixers.
Yes.
Really?
They have beautiful like white Dutch ovens that they use. It's
beautiful.
Yeah, I'm into it. I mean, it's filling that gap a little bit.
Mhm. I really was looking for Oh my god. That show.
It's on Netflix. I meant to. It's a Netflix original.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, Is
Go
it
ahead,
like
Ben.
is it an actual Netflix original or is it just like an import that only
I'm
Netflix
sorry.
has?
The Big Family... Shit, what's it called?
The Big Family shit.
The Big Family... Fuck. The Big Family Cooking Showdown is a Netflix original. The Great Britain... Fuck, what's it called? I'm so sorry. Britain... Here's how I tried to search for it. Great Britain Family Cook-Off. That's not what it's called. Big Family Cooking Showdown.
Big Family Cooking Showdown. That sounds
The
familiar.
Big Family Cooking Showdown. This is because I've said it like 15 times. On Netflix.
Sounds
Man.
good.
I just want more Bake Off, though.
I know. That's how I feel.
Ben.
Yeah, should I go? My turn.
Yeah, but also just watch it and just like
Oh, that's
live
what you were-
tweet your reactions.
I'll live tweet Como's reactions.
To what? Oh, to watch it. Oh.
He might watch it too. Sometimes he likes to sit up on right in front of the TV and watch stuff that we're doing on it.
I might rewatch it because I've been in a really big baking kick lately.
How many seasons are there of it?
That's
Okay.
weird. Why? I'm just joking.
I don't know how many seasons there are. I think there are less on Netflix than there are IRL.
I think so too.
Oh, there's another thing on Netflix that I meant to watch that I haven't yet.
I just have a quick update about my podcast fuel.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, it's all gone, and I can't feel my lips anymore.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
That's a good sign. That's how you know it's working. Are you sure it wasn't actual fuel?
yes.
Good.
Well,
Oh,
I didn't
and
see it poured.
Oh, and I finished Stranger Things as another update.
Oh, me
Oh,
too.
great.
So good.
Good.
Awesome. I'm gonna do that next week then.
Great.
What?
And we can
Oh.
let's warn out. Let's talk about spoilers next week. So, if you haven't finished Stranger Things and you're an avid Way Too Broad listener, we're gonna talk spoilers next week.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's a great
I agree.
idea.
I agree.
Yes.
So
either wait until you're done.
Yeah.
To listen to episode 12.
episode 12, and we'll note in the episode description the time frame about when there's spoilers. So if you haven't finished it, you can at least skip it.
Yeah, that's fine. That's perfect.
Okay. There was another Great British... I think there's some cooking... I can't fucking spell. Okay. The Great British Baking Show Masterclass
Oh yeah,
is also a thing.
Just like Paul and Mary Berry hanging out.
But did you watch it?
We watched some of it. It's so romantic.
Is it? Okay.
No.
He loves her like a mother.
It's pretty good though. It's just not the same.
Yeah.
Nothing's the same.
Nothing's the same. I'll probably just
all.
rewatch it.
Oh, but I did want to, since we ended up talking about the Bake Off again, I just wanted to mention that another Lady Pod Squad show called Your Fave is Problematic. They just started a new segment this week called Surprisingly Unproblematic. So the point of their show is that they like talk about things like people or shows or whatever that, and like talk about the things about it that are like kind of like problematic, basically.
Oh, I love
Those, like
that.
ruin your favorite stuff. It's really good.
Yeah. Because Paul Hollywood's like a dick.
Yeah, they didn't actually. So that's interesting. Actually, maybe we should mention that to them because the Great British Bake Off was their surprisingly unproblematic thing because they were talking about all the stuff we talked about how it's like such a breath of fresh air in terms of reality television and stuff like that, and how it's like on pretty much constantly in their household, which was exactly our experience when we started watching it. But I was cracking up about it because they also were doing Paul Hollywood impressions this week. I was like, I better say something because there's like a thing happening here. So I just wanted to mention them. And this show is also very good. Yeah, shout out to Your Fave is Problematic.
I'm gonna download that and listen to it.
Yeah, it's good. They have they have some good stuff on there.
We've been quoting Paul Hollywood in my house a lot because I baked 3 loaves of bread this week and they were all torch underbaked, which I still can't say.
You know what? Ian looked at Molly's picture on Instagram and he was like, "Yeah, that looks a little bit under break."
It was a total effect. But then I made cookies that were not.
I'm sorry.
Underbaked.
He said it was underproved.
It was not underproved.
No, overproved.
Oh, it might have been a touch overproved.
Yeah, you're right, Ian.
But what am I gonna do? Tell me a time frame where that's gonna work out. Because anyway, we'll talk later. This is why bakers wake up early. Is all I'm saying.
I'll have him email the pod.
Email the fucking pod. If you want to talk to me, email the goddamn podcast. If you have words for me.
Ben.
Yeah.
Go.
Okay.
Your managerial skills really kind of
flourished right there
after your podcast, Jewel.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny how you just must have different styles of management that you prefer.
Yeah.
Ben, go. Usually all right, up last but not least is Ben.
Apparently, Lisa, with how much I'm getting fucking roasted this episode.
You are. I'm so sorry, Ben. We love you.
Yeah, but do watch Great British Bake Off.
We would love you even more. Think about how much we would love you if you watched that show.
Yeah. I think it would really improve you as a person.
It's so good. Anyway, sorry, Ben. What's up, buddy?
What's
going on, man?
This week is two things.
What?
Doubling down. It's 2 books.
Ooh.
2 books.
I think I can't remember if I actually mentioned this last week or if I just mentioned it when I was talking to you guys on the Slack last week. But it's 2 books, and they're both by Aldous Huxley.
Oh.
And this is actually, I'm reading both of them back to back on purpose on a recommendation from our brother, Lucas, from maybe 8 or 9 years ago. When he was in high school, and he read, the first one is Brave New World, which is Aldous Huxley's really famous dystopian novel. And then the second one's Island. And he recommended reading them back to back because Brave New World is his he wrote it in the 30s, and it's one of his first books, and it's dystopian. And then Island is the very last book he wrote, I'm pretty sure while he was dying.
Oh.
And it's kind of his idea of a utopian society.
Oh.
And it's one of the more interesting ones I've ever read about. And it's really interesting to read them back to back because you get to see what elements of society he thinks exist in both, but are pushed to the extreme in a dystopian version,
Mm-hmm.
And so Island's one I'm reading now. I'm actually not quite finished with it, but I just really it's kind of almost a philosophy book that's dressed up as a novel. Whereas Brave New World it's a longer read than Brave New World. Brave New World's a lot quicker and kind of to the point, which makes sense with how the society works in that book. But Brave New World's about a dystopian society where humans are no longer nobody gives birth anymore. Everyone's basically mass produced in hatcheries, and they're forced from the time they're an embryo, actually from a zygote, from the time they're first fertilized into different 5 different castes of society, and you're very strictly held in those. And your whole life you're conditioned and basically hypnotized to think that there's nothing more than consuming, basically. All you need to be happy is to keep consuming. They're hypnotized from the age 6 to 10 to never fix their clothes, to only buy new clothes. And whenever they feel sad, they take this hallucinogenic called soma that just makes them happy. They call it going on a brief holiday. They have a weird euphemism for it. And the book centers around one character who is an alpha plus, who is the highest level of society. So they're all really smart, and some of them end up they're it's weird because I feel in a lot of dystopian books, kind of 1984, it's usually the lower parts of society that start to some extent realize how unfair things are and kind of fight back a little bit. But in this case, they limit the lower echelons of society so much by like literally limiting the oxygen they get while they're being while they're like developing in the womb, the pseudo womb, so that they're not intelligent enough to know that they're being wronged. So it ends up being the people that they actually let become smart that become sort of a threat to society. It's really interesting, and like it's I recommend it because it's almost a lot of it. I feel like people would be surprised to learn that it was written in the 30s, because like a lot of it centers around like how people distract themselves with tech, like the newest technology, rather than actually addressing any of their problems. They just like, if they start to get sad, they either take drugs or they go like play golf or something. So it was a little like, kind of prescient in that way. And Island is like so different. I'm pretty sure all this
Brave New World.
Huh?
Oh, sorry.
No,
Brave New World sounds like you were describing Stardew Valley a little bit.
I was gonna say, it's like,
oh really?
escape from your problems by going to Stardew Valley.
And the world of Stardew Valley, right? Like, all the babies are mass produced. You just go get one. And you escape your problems by, like, having wild and torrid affairs. And people, you know, only learn to take. There, you just give them gifts all day.
Wow. Never thought about that. Maybe it's based off Brave New World.
Probably not.
Their dystopia is your utopia.
Yeah.
Island is super different because I think Aldous Huxley actually was a Buddhist, and it's about a Buddhist society on a fictional Pacific island, but it's like contemporary. Like it takes place in the 60s, when it was written in the 60s. So it's not futuristic. It's a utopia that's kind of existed in its close to perfect form for only the last 120 years or so. And what's especially interesting about it is, like I mentioned, they're like a Buddhist society, but the thing that happened 120 years before the events of the book that kind of brought them close to a utopia was when a Western doctor came in and saved their king with some kind of surgery to like get rid of a cancer or something. But like the Western doctor was very open-minded to alternative like Buddhist spiritualism, and then the old king, who was like also spiritual leader, Buddhist leader for the country, was open to like bringing in more Western technology and medicine. So it's like they've kind of managed, it seems like Aldous Huxley's idea of a perfect utopia is like the spiritualism of the East combined with just enough technology of the West to have a relatively modern society. So like they have cars and everything and electricity, but they mostly still dress up in like tribal kind of loincloths and stuff, which is it's really interesting. And the whole book is basically about a journalist who from England who gets shipwrecked there, and he's kind of on like a secret mission from his boss to get them to sell their like oil fields that they have off the coast of their island. But the whole book is basically him just going around the island, learning about their society, and just having long conversations with various people, like the principal of the school, or like the great grandson of of that Scottish doctor who came to the island years ago, and the king who's about to be crowned when he turns 18. He talks to him for a bit. Like you learn all about what they do to like have this perfect society where like no one gets sick. They've learned to meditate away pain during childbirth. Well, people get sick, but they like their main philosophical like creed basically is to pay attention to here and now. So their whole thing is like, don't get focused on the past or anything that's like not important to you at this moment. And the idea behind that is to avoid trying to be someone that you're not, and try and actually figure out who you really are. It's really interesting. It's really hard to explain because there's like the whole book's about it, but I would really recommend it. And I think it's a book that I'm probably going to read multiple times in my life because there's a lot stuffed into it, and it's like I keep getting these like little takeaways where I like read this little section and I'm like, wow, that's really cool. Like there's this one section about how their scarecrows are not like ugly things. They're like dressed up as gods and in like their most beautiful clothing, and they one of the chores that the kids do is pull the strings of the scarecrows back and forth to scare the birds away. And that's not just like that's on purpose by the designers of the society to teach children that gods have some kind of importance, but it's not that they have any power over you. They only have power over you if you give them power. Like they only move because you pull the strings. Basically,
deep metaphor there.
Right? Yeah, it is. And then like they also talk about. Actually, I kind of want to read it. I have the quote. They say, "Gods, their one great merit, apart from scaring birds and, quote, sinners, unquote, and occasionally perhaps consoling the miserable, consists in this. Being raised aloft on poles, they have to be looked up at, and when anyone looks up, even at a god, he can hardly fail to see the sky beyond." So that's like and they do that on purpose and have kids do that job so they kind of start to realize that themselves and really internalize it. And that's like the key to everything on this island is they don't force or indoctrinate anything. They just present situations throughout children's entire lives so that they'll learn this way of life and really internalize it like to an amazing extent, to the point where everyone just like understands their kind of purpose and who they are and where they fit. It's really, really cool.
That sounds like Stardew Valley, Erin.
I apologize.
That's awesome. I'm going to definitely read. I think I at least have started reading Brave New World, but I think I'm definitely going to read Island.
I think I read Brave New World in high school, maybe.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do.
Yeah.
It's a pretty
It's always worth revisiting those.
Yeah.
In adulthood.
That's awesome.
Good
really
segment.
Thanks.
Great segment, Ben. Thanks, Lucas, for that rec back in like 2009 or whatever.
The way back rec.
He was way ahead. He did that in high school.
Heck yeah. He's a smart guy.
That's it. That's my segment.
This is you. Hannah, go.
Well, okay, so homework.
Can we give a quick shout out to our new cousin listener, Jessie?
Yeah.
Shout out to Jessie.
Jessie texted us, Erin and me, this week and said she was listening, and that was exciting.
Shut up. I said that weird.
You did it. It sounds like you said, shut up. Shut up.
So, homework for Jessie.
It's only for Jessie.
Download Stardew Valley if you have like a Steam account or a Switch. It's so fun and you won't regret it. That's my homework. My Twitter is Anthropology, just anthropology with an H at the beginning of it, but anthropology like the study of people, not the store, because the Y at the end. I've added that now. I've made it even longer.
It's Hannah's great fear that our listeners will have the slightest trouble finding her Twitter. I couldn't say that sentence at all.
Do you have all of our Twitter handles in the description on the podcast Twitter, Earsnack Twitter?
Yeah, but if you tell me that I am not allowed to say that anymore, I'll quit the podcast.
I will also quit the podcast because I pretty much live for that. Because
I
not only live for the words you say, but you also just sound so exasperated. I don't know whether if it's with yourself or like with the world or with Anthropology the store, but you are so exasperated every single time you say it.
Or with Anthropology the science.
I'm just always like, why am I doing this? Because I always do it.
But you love to do it, and you wouldn't have it any other way.
Right.
It's Anthropology, But let me get into this. You're not going to believe what that is like. Anthropology like the science and
like,
not the store.
Just to give like a brief explanation of what it's like to follow me on Twitter. What I tweeted this week, the only tweet I think I made was, I'm back on my Stardew Valley shit again. Or no, bullshit. Back on my Stardew Valley bullshit.
There was so much to tweet about this week, especially yesterday with the Virginia elections.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fucking A.
Shout out to
Pretty
Virginia.
much all the
Shout
elections.
out to Virginia.
Big shout out to Virginia.
And New
Did
Jersey.
you see what she said? She was like asked to comment
I saw that.
on that motherfucker. I cannot find the tweet. Ben, do you remember what it was?
Yeah, she was asked to like comment on him, and then she said, "He's my constituent now. I don't attack my constituents."
Oh man.
That was it.
Burn! That is such a sick burn,
Yeah,
while being incredibly respectful.
That is such a sick, respectful, honorable burn.
The best sweet spot.
But it's really a sick burn because he's her constituent because he lost. It's so good. It's
and
so
he
good.
called himself chief homophobe.
Yep.
I would like to give a shout out to my mom, who texted me that she had to wake up super early yesterday, drive to Virginia in the cold rain, and take my grumpy grandfather and his wheelchair to go vote, and she had to dutifully fill out the ballot for all Republicans.
Oh my god.
And he gave nary a thank you. And so she was worried all day that guy would win by one vote. So it was very happy.
She can rest easy.
Yeah, she was happy. I was like, that's the ultimate American citizen right there. Because she could have been like, oh, something came up, or like, I don't feel well and I can't take you to vote, which I would like to say is also so Republican, which would have been so Republican of her to like do some active voter suppression, but she just like a real American hero.
Yeah.
Right there.
Shout out.
Shout fucking out. She does not listen to this podcast, so she'll never hear it, but I know.
You should just we'll force it down her ear holes.
Oh God. Don't talk about my mom's ear holes.
All right. Erin, I need to hear your homework because I really need to hear if you can get this name right.
Yeah, don't look it up. Just
don't look it. Don't look it.
I already closed my tab.
No.
Okay,
I have it open, so I will tell you if you get it wrong.
Okay, it's the Big Family Cooking Show Off.
Oh, so close!
The Big Family Cooking Showdown.
Yeah,
yes.
You got it.
I feel like it should have been called a show off. So my homework is to watch that. My homework for only Ben is to goddamn motherfucking watch the Great British Baking Show Off.
What's your Twitter?
So good.
It's so good.
It's just so relaxing.
What's your Twitter?
Oh, at Earnburn. Follow for mostly this week feminist retweets.
Oh yeah,
that's
but
really
the most choice ones.
All you're getting this week out of me, and and my oh my god, you guys, do you have time for a quick anecdote? Yeah. I went to a party this week, and was just kind of accidentally. It was almost entirely lesbians at this party. People I didn't know, though. But
we all know each other, Erin.
Organically, lesbian movie reviews came up.
Ooh.
Like, this person at the party was asking another person at the party, who was like, are you lesbian movie reviews? Because they got, my account got recommended to them, and they started following, and then my friend so this person I didn't know asked a friend of mine, and my friend was like, no, but my friend Erin is, and like brought me over, and then all these people were following me who I didn't know, and they didn't know me. They just like found my account, and I haven't posted in a while, and they were like, oh, we noticed, and it was just like, I was like the belle of the ball. Anyway,
did you tell them to listen to Way Too Broad?
Well, not now that I've like bragged about myself.
What?
maybe next
No, you could have been
episode.
like, no, listen, it's perfect. If I was a ball at a party, I'm just saying, and somebody was
Did you
like,
just
oh,
say ball?
I don't know what I said. I'm
ball of the party.
I don't think I would have said that.
Not the ball of the party.
That doesn't sound like me at all. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, you should meet my cousin Hannah. She's the ball of every party.
I'm just saying,
I've
I found
always-
myself in that situation, and people were like, "I love what you do, man." I'd be like, "You should check out this other thing I
I do more stuff.
I'm sorry. We were too busy talking about lesbian movie reviews. Anywho.
That's all right. It's fine. I understand. You have to have your brand, and we have to have our brand, and that's important.
It's important.
That's why you're such a great ball of the party. I've always thought that about you. I would like to point out, last snack, Ben made fun of me for slurring my words. This snack, he made fun of you. So next snack, he's going to make fun of himself. He's going to drink a little too much during the recording. So anyway, you can find those reviews on Instagram at Lesbian Movie Reviews.
Woo!
Woo!
My homework is read Brave New World and read Island in that order, because I think it's really interesting too. They're both by Aldous Huxley.
How many fucking books do you read a week?
Seriously.
I've been reading a lot lately, because I have a half an hour train ride to school now.
Oh, that's nice.
And so I read on the train and back, and you'd be surprised, like, just reading an hour or two a day, how much you can get through in, like, pretty short amount of time. Like, I think I've read 3 or 4 books just this semester, which I hadn't until, like, senior year of college. I had kind of stopped reading when college started, and I'm really happy I've started again.
That's really
Don't
great.
tell me what I'd be.
Okay. Oh, also my Twitter is NEDiscoGreg. I post a picture and or video of my cat every single day, and I got a couple good ones lined up. I got some real good ones today on the docket, so check those out.
A como a day keeps the cute aplenty.
Okay, that's everybody. So if you want to talk to us about how much we should or shouldn't drink during the ear snack recording, you can reach us on Twitter at 2broadpod, as in a pod of narwhals. You can reach us, and it's TOO, not the number. You can email us. Fuck, we have a listener email again.
Yes!
This segment should be called Emails from My Mother.
No, this segment should be called, oh fuck, we have a listener email again.
And it only happens at the very, very end.
I love listener emails. Aunt Liz, thank you.
Hang on, I'm switching over, pulling up the email. It's called Obsessions Live On.
Ooh.
Okay. When Hannah was 3 or 4, we started listening to a show called Writers Radio Theater. It was a comic radio serial featuring a cast of characters and music by a group called Riders in the Sky. It originated at an NPR station in Nashville, and it was quite a thing for about 7 years, blah, blah, blah. Kind of like Pee-wee's Playhouse in the West. We loved it. We were kind of obsessed with it. Hannah was right there with us. So last night, for some reason, I started singing Home, Home on the Range, only I was singing a version that Hannah created when she was 4 that I always found very amusing. It's an old cowboy song, and I'm sure she heard it first on the Writers Radio Theater. Her lyrics went like this. I'll sing it for you. I know how it goes because I wrote it. Okay. You guys know the original Home on the Range, right? Erin, you know it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Home, home on the rainbow, where the deer and the ants can all play.
Though.
Where slocum is heard, a discouraging word, and the skies are all cloudy all day.
What were the songs? Home on the Rainbow.
Where the deer and the ants can all play. It's
No.
actually deer and the antelope where Slocum is heard.
Who's Slocum?
We'll get to that.
Okay.
And the skies are all cloudy all day.
Gotcha.
That's me. That's what I was into at that age.
Was
so
Slocum
great.
Hank the Cow Dog?
No, so you'll note the mention of Slocum. Is the next line. Slocum was an evil character in the Writers Radio Theater serial. It occurred to me that I had heard nothing of these guys since they basically dropped off my radar in 1995. I wondered if they were still around, and I resorted. Oh God, I can't read anymore. And I resorted to dear old Google, where I discovered that not only are they still around, but since May of 2016, they have been doing a podcast. Your snack with content very much like the old show we used to listen to. And then she sent us a link to the podcast. So it's called Riders in the Sky, just like the radio series, if you want to try to find it.
Cool.
ridersinthesky.com. So yeah, that was
Good
cool.
listener
I started
email.
listening to it. Yeah, great segment. I almost called her Aunt Liz.
Great segment, my Aunt Liz, your mom.
Yep.
Your mom had a good segment.
But just to be totally clear,
That was good. Why did you gloss over that?
that was good. Just to be totally clear, the inbox is open to anybody who would like to email us, not just
Nope,
my
we have
mother.
a filter. Only mom's emails get through.
We should have thousands of listener emails.
Sorry, everyone.
Which we appreciate, obviously.
It's just the best way for our mom to directly contact us.
Yep. Okay, and and if you enjoyed yourself today, for some reason, you can leave us a rating or a review on iTunes or wherever, and that would be awesome. So, thanks for listening.
Have a good snack.
Bye.
Bye, narwhals.
Bye, narwhals.
That's not how our theme music goes at all. Hannah, what are you drinking?
Oh, I'm drinking some podcast fuel this week. This is an incredibly strong beer, like 14%.
Holy
Jesus Christ.
That's gonna be nice.
Yes, and then I'm also drinking this, which is a huge bottle of Fresca for when I get dehydrated.
I have a family question. Do you people, as members of my family, enjoy having multiple drinks at once?
I would say so.
At once. I have 4 drinks right now. I have a cranberry lime seltzer right there. That's for when I get thirsty. I have a cup of milk because I'm having cookies. And you can't have cookies without milk. I have a glass filled to the brim of wine because we're recording a podcast and I always have a drink. And I have a cup of tea because it's cozy.
Wow. No, I like water.
Well,
Ben just drinks water. Weirdo.
I think our beverage choices here reflect our personalities.